Filmmaking at its core is about moving pictures, visuals that move us in wonder or in fear. And horror, when done well, has the ability to move us deeper than most. Horror bypasses logic and reaches the soul, the heart, the psyche. In this video, I want to talk about two silent films from the 1920s that still haunt modern cinema: The Man Who Laughs and Häxan. These aren't just sinister relics, they're blueprints. I chose these two films because they represent everything I love about the genre. They aren't just body, occult, or romantic horror. They're all that and more. Let's start with The Man Who Laughs, directed by Paul Lenny in 1928. On the surface, it's a gothic romance, a tale of love, deformity, and sorrow, all wrapped in a German expressionist cloak. But beneath that is a slow-burning body horror story. A man whose face has been permanently disfigured into a grotesque smile, not by fate, but by the cruelty of men. It's terrifying, but tender. Gwynplaine isn't a monster, he's a victim. And his tragedy doesn't come from what he looks like, but from how the world looks back at him. His face may be grotesque, but his soul is beautiful. What makes this film so emotionally enduring is that it isn't trying to scare you. It predates jump cuts and shrieking violins. It's horror born from empathy. The same kind of horror that drives films like The Shape of Water or Edward Scissorhands. It's also left a lasting mark on pop culture. Yes, Gwynplaine is the visual inspiration for the Joker, but narratively, he's almost the anti-Joker. Where the Joker lashes out and burns the world, Gwynplaine carries it, he suffers it, he endures. His smile is involuntary, and still he keeps loving. Probably inspired by Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, The Man Who Laughs would go on to inspire generations of filmmakers, from Guillermo del Toro to Tim Burton to David Lynch. But unlike Frankenstein's monster, Gwynplaine isn't feared or hunted. In fact, he's adored. And yet, despite all that, he remains empty. Then there's Häxan, the exact opposite kind of horror. Where The Man Who Laughs is focused, intimate, and restrained, Häxan is chaotic, indulgent, and seductive. Part documentary, part fever dream, Benjamin Christensen's 1922 film is a history lesson on witchcraft, told through surreal imagery, real-world paranoia, and playful blasphemy. There's no strict plot, instead you fall into its rhythm, you get seduced. The witchcraft is working. And that's the power of occult horror. It disorients, it overwhelms. It doesn't show you the devil, it convinces you he's in the room. Robert Eggers, who I consider the greatest filmmaker of our generation, is clearly influenced by this era of occult horror. The Witch, The Lighthouse, The Northman, and now his Nosferatu remake, all carry the same sensibility, not just in aesthetic, but in how they hypnotize. Häxan seduces you from the first frame. You fall into a trance. As the film unfolds, image by image, spell by spell. It isn't the only film of its kind, but it stands alone in its silent lucidity. These films, The Man Who Laughs and Häxan, aren't just historical curiosities. They laid the foundation for some of the most enduring, emotional horror stories of all time. Häxan planted the seeds for what occult horror would become, from Polanski to Astor, while The Man Who Laughs birthed a new kind of monster, the kind who hurts inside. There's something sacred about the silent era. With no dialogue to fall back on, these films had to move us with imagery alone. And in the case of these two horror masterpieces, they did. So I invite you to revisit them, not as old movies, but as living stories. Because while sound may have changed cinema, these films gave horror its voice.